am here to give you a bet for the upcoming UFC card, and I think you are going to be shocked when you hear this play. Welcome to Lucrative Hammer of the Week. So welcome back to Hammer of the Week, guys. This weekend, we are in Vegas, back again in the UFC Apex. You know that the UFC Apex is usually designed for finishes. I can't remember the exact stat, but it's something like 20% more finishes in the UFC Apex, and that's literally only because they use a smaller octagon. It's about a 20% smaller octagon or something like that. So there's just more action, more chaos, more finishes. Hopefully, we see it. In the main event of the evening, we have our boy Chris Duncan taking on Renato Moicano. I was going to say former teammates, but honestly, current teammates. Both fighters training out of ATT are facing off against each other. If you haven't seen it yet, I have put out a 1 hour long video with Chris Duncan where we go in depth on the fight. He actually gives his pick and prediction for the fight. He tells us what to go and bet on for the fight, and we go into a bunch of other things as well. Chris is my friend, so it was a seamless conversation with him. It's out on my YouTube channel right now if you guys want to go and watch that. Hopefully it will give you a little bit of an insight into the mind of Chris, who he is as a person, not only a fighter, but then also help influence your betting decisions. As I always say, don't really look into interviews too much, but you know, there's definitely a few jewels that you can get from interviews, and he definitely dropped some on me in that video, so you can go and watch it on my YouTube channel. I'm definitely going to be rooting for him against Moicano this week, but we have a bunch of other epic fights on tap in this fight card as well. We have a co-main event that doesn't light your hair on fire, but it's probably going to be an interesting matchup. At least it's Tabatha Ricci taking on Virna Jandiroba. Jandiroba, fresh off her title defeat, now looking to get back in the title picture with a win over a streaking Tabatha Ricci, who's coming off a massive win in her last fight, a knockout win over Amanda Ribas. We have one of the greatest fighters in a light heavyweight division, Abdul Rahman Yakyaev, fighting this weekend. He takes on Brenson Ribeiro. Now, I know a lot of people were calling me absolutely crazy when I told you that Lona Kavanagh is one of the greatest fighters on the planet before his fight against Brandon Moreno, coming off a bad knockout loss to Charles Johnson. But I know when a fight is special, or at least I will tell you my opinion when I think a fighter is special. I'm not going to be right all the time, but a lot of times I am going to be right. With Lona, I believe I was right. And with Abdul Rahman Yakyaev, I believe I'm right too. I think this guy is going to steamroll Brenson Ribeiro, and I think he's going to become either a champion or fight for the belt in the next 3 years. I don't even think it's going to be long. We have a very hype prospect, Tommy McMillan, on this card. The undefeated Rafael Estevam is taking on Ethan Ewing. So boys, this is actually a sleeper card, a banger card. Last week's card was exciting, and I'm very excited for this week's one. So boys, if you don't know what Hammer of the Week is, it's a weekly YouTube video where I give you the best betting spot on the entire fight card, or the spot with the most value, or a bet that I just want to give out. It's not always the spot with the most value or the best bet or my most confident pick. I know it's called Hammer of the Week. I mean, last week I had Israel Adesanya as my Hammer of the Week, which lost to Joe Pyfer in round 2. Obviously, I also bet on Navajo Sterling on that card at minus 600 odds. I also bet on Larry and Douglas at minus 300 odds. I was more confident in those guys. I don't want to give out a minus 600 or even a minus 300. Sometimes I have to. The card is kind of tough, but I don't want to. You know, I'd like to give out an underdog or you know, a semi-favorite, minus 180, minus 170, minus 200, something like that. And this week, I've got just a spot for you, a slight favorite, who, by the way, was an underdog, and I was hoping he would stay the underdog because I was going to give him out as the underdog, but unfortunately, he's not the underdog anymore, but I still want to give him out. Before we get into this video, please do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. The analytics still say that 60 or 40% of the people who watch my videos are not even subscribed. You may think you're subscribed, but just go and have a click of the button or a look at the button to see if you actually are or not. It's the free way to support me if you appreciate these videos. Now, boys, we're on a bad run with the Hammer of the Weeks lately. We're 0-4 in our last 4. So we've lost 4 in a row, a 4-hammer L streak. So we need to get back into winning ways. We can't be going 0-5. Currently, the Hammer of the Week record is 11 wins and 8 losses with multiple ladders hit. The ladders are extra prop bets that I give you later on in the show, so make sure you stick around for that in the section Ladder to Hammer. But let's get into this week's Hammer of the Week, where we're betting on a favorite that just yesterday was the underdog. there it is, lads. It is Ethan Ewing at odds of minus 140. And it is a bit disappointing that I have to give you this bet at odds of minus 140 because me and the Elite Zone have already bet on this. The Elite Zone is my private betting community. We bet on this at plus 105 odds. So Ethan, a couple of days ago, before the last UFC card, like 2 days before that or 1 day before that, I think it was a day before it, the night before the UFC Seattle card, we bet on Ethan Ewing at plus 105. And now we're sitting at minus 140, you know? So I was hoping that, you know, I could give this one out at Hammer of the Week as an underdog, but it is what it is, boys. The lines moved. I still like Ethan Ewing at this price. Would I bet him at this price? Maybe. I'd have to really think about it. It's a very good fight, a very tough fight, but I still think there's value on Ethan Ewing at this price, so I'm happy to give it out to you. Yes, we could go with the Yakyaev under at minus 400, you know, or Yakyaev at minus 2,000. These are basically guaranteed spots, but I'm not going to give that out for Hammer of the Week. I want to swing the hammer on this one and come back with a bang. And I think Ethan Ewing gets it done for us this weekend with a bang, emphatically, maybe even via finish. So I'll give you a quick breakdown on why I'm picking Ethan Ewing this week. Before I get into the breakdown, I want you to comment your Hammer of the Week down below. And if it hits, I'll shout you out on next week's Hammer of the Week. So for the breakdown, I just really think that Ethan Ewing has the style to beat Rafael Estevam. Now, at the end of the day, boys, it's scary betting against a 14-0 undefeated Brazilian. Like, let's be real, you know, especially one with the style of Rafael Estevam. Because this guy isn't a 14-0 undefeated fighter like maybe someone like Gene Matsumoto was, where, you know, he fights hard, he's good striker, good well-rounder. He's not like that. Rafael Estevam has an elite skill set in one place and one place only. And that's in MMA grappling, MMA wrestling. You know, he is a relentless wrestler. He's going to shoot 10, 15, even 20 takedowns if you get up enough times in a 3-round fight. This guy's almost like Marab level, but even more. And when I say even more, I mean, Marab, you know, especially nowadays, he tests his striking a little bit more. Estevam, he doesn't want anything to do with his striking for the most part. Look, he can string some shots together. You know, I've seen him land some pretty decent shots for where he was a couple of years ago. You know, I feel like he has improved. But at the end of the day, this guy is an out-and-out grappler. I mean, if he ain't getting you down, he ain't going to win the fight. But he's getting everyone down, so he's won every fight, and he's never lost. So you might be asking me, James, why the hell are you betting against this guy then? It's because we got Ethan Ewing on the other side. So for those of you who do not know, you better get to know. Ethan Ewing came in on 48 hours notice to take on one of the upcoming killers in the division in Malcolm Wellmaker and beat him up. Beat him up in 48 hours notice on a massive stage in a massive fight on his UFC debut. I mean, one time for Ethan Ewing. I mean, we had to do that. I like Malcolm Wellmaker. I think he's a good fighter. I guess what I'm trying to say, boys, is that what Ethan Ewing did to Malcolm Wellmaker, I don't think a lot of fighters could do, because he didn't take Malcolm Wellmaker down. He didn't grind him up against the cage. He didn't get him tired. He didn't avoid the fight for the first 7.5 minutes until that explosiveness of Malcolm waned and then started to put it on him later in the fight. He stood toe-to-toe with Malcolm Wellmaker in the pocket and outskilled him in an area that Malcolm is known to dead guys, with his right hook specifically, you know? So to see Ethan Ewing beat Malcolm was something on 48 hours notice UFC debut, but to see him do it in the way he did, in the style he did, in the matchup he did it in, I mean, that was even more impressive than the win itself. You know, so that taught me a lot about Ethan Ewing. You go back and watch his fight on the regional scene with Billy Brand. That taught me a lot about him as well. I actually think Billy Brand is a very good fighter. I mean, let's be real. Billy Brand has lost to 3 guys in his career, right? Ethan Ewing, elite prospect. Peyton Talbot, greatest fighter in MMA history. And Cody Haddon, very legitimate prospect. One who was going to fight Malcolm Wellmaker, ironically, in the UFC. You know, so I feel like Billy Brand is a very good fighter. Now, boys, I'm just checking right now. I wanted to fact check myself. And Billy Brand did lose to one more fighter named Joshua Simpson, undefeated guy. He's 2-0 now. So I don't know how good that guy is. But Billy Brand made it to the Dana White's Contender Series. I think he's a very good fighter, put it that way. And Ethan Ewing dealt with him accordingly, knocked him out in round 1. And I think that was a good performance. Every other fight on Ethan Ewing's career is also a good performance. You see he's lost 2 fights. He lost 2 fights, the first 2 fights of his career. And then he's gone on a 9-fight win streak streaks since then. It's hard to, count the first 2 fights of your career because you're just learning the sport, you're learning the game. It reminds me of Jack Della Maddalena. He lost the first 2 fights of his career and he went on to become UFC champion. Is that going to happen to Ethan? Guess what? I think it could. That's how good I think this guy is. Now, look, boys, the bantamweight division is maybe the best division in combat sports. So I don't really want to call him a champion right now, but he is someone I think is going to go to the top, if not. Basically like Abdulrahman Yakyaev, like I said at the start. I think that he's either going to go to the top or close to the top. Ethan Ewing is going to have a much harder time because he's in much better weight class in bantamweight, but there's not... Like, I think I'm so certain that Ethan Ewing cracks the top 15, right? I'm so certain he cracks the top 10. I'm very confident. I'm very confident he cracks the top 5. And after that, I don't know. After that, I don't know. It's very hard to say the guy's going to, be at the level of like Peter Yan or Corey Sandhagen. But the other day, when I spoke to my guys in my private betting community, the Elite Zone, and I told them why we're betting on Ethan Ewing at plus 105 odds, and now he's a big favorite or, slight favorite. The reason I said was because this guy reminds me of these bantamweight fighters who don't have any weaknesses, like Corey Sandhagen and Peter Yan. Yes, of course, they have a dominant skill set. For both of them is the striking. If you want to beat them, most of the time, you're going to have to grapple them. I mean, Peter Yan got beat with grappling from Aljamain Sterling. He got beat with grappling from Merab Dvalishvili. He got outstruck by Sean, but he may even won that fight. And Corey Sandhagen is the same. For the most part, if you want to beat them, you got to grapple them, right? But they're good everywhere. They can grapple you. They have good jiu-jitsu. They got submission wins. They have elite cardio, elite fight IQ. Like Ethan Ewing is of that ilk. He is of that ilk, And he's super skillful, man. Like Ethan Ewing in the pocket is beautiful. He stays in the pocket and extends combinations, which is something that Ilia Topuria does. And it is honestly one of the reasons Ilia Topuria is champion to this day is because he can extend the combination beyond the 1-2-3, which doesn't happen that often in MMA. And Ilia Topuria himself has said it. So I know I'm going like the nerd MMA analyst route right now, and I don't want to lose you and I don't want to go too in depth. Not lose you like you're not interested in this stuff, but lose you as in like, this is Hammer of the Week. I don't want to go so analytical, right? But the way Ethan Ewing extends his combinations and it can extend them in the pocket as well is just beautiful to see. He'll throw a 1-2-3, change angles, but stay in the pocket and throw a 1-2 and then a massive 2 to the body and maybe even a hook to the body and then a hook up top and then change angles again. And then he might even be there to add another couple of shots. You're talking 8, 9, 10 punch combination in MMA. It doesn't happen, boys. It doesn't happen. So when it happens, I get excited, as you can tell. And when it happens, I feel like that guy is like going to be maybe better than 95% of fighters in his weight class at striking because he can throw a 10-punch combination. It's another reason why Jack Della Maddalena became UFC champion, is because he can extend combinations beyond the 1-2-3. In MMA, it's a lot of 1-2s. It's a lot of 1-2-3s. It's a lot of 1-2 low kicks. It's a lot of 1-2-3 low kick. It's a lot of 1-2-3 high kick. You know what I mean? It's like basic Thai boxing, Dutch kickboxing, standard drills without extending the combinations. TJ Dillashaw is someone who can extend combination beyond the 1-2-3 because that Dwayne Ludwig, I'm going super, super nerdy right now, boys, striking. That Dwayne Bang Ludwig style of Muay Thai, the style that they developed for MMA is pretty good at extending the combinations. They train this at Extreme Couture as well. I've trained it at Extreme Couture with them. What I'm trying to say is no one does that in MMA. So to see Ethan do it, I think he's going to go far in the striking. And when we talk about the wrestling, I mean, at the end of the day, boys, Estevam is the most dominant wrestler that Ethan's ever fought. Estevam is one of the most dominant wrestlers in bantamweight, but a few things that I want to say on that. I'm not going to break down the whole fight. A few things I want to say on this. Ethan Ewing has shown very good get-up game when he has been taken down. There's a couple of times where he's closed guard for a little bit and tried to throw up submissions, which I don't like. I don't think he needs to be doing that against Estevam. I think he's going to get shut down if he does that. I think Estevam is the better grappler and wrestler, so he needs to be getting back up to his feet. Second thing I want to mention is that Estevam tires out heavily. Boys, go and watch the round 3 of the Charles Johnson fight. Go and watch the Jesus Aguilar fight where he's making a lot of mistakes and he gets tired in that one. He tires out in a lot of fights. And I think Ethan Ewing is the exact type of fighter you don't want to tire out against because he's not going to tire out and he's going to keep pushing forward. He reminds me of Peyton Talbot to some degree, where his cardio and he grows into fights. I mean, him versus Peyton Talbot one day would be absolute insanity. These two are my guys, so I do not want them to fight against each other, but it is what it is. They both come from Uriah Faber combat. Some decent fighters come out of that regional scene, to be honest. And so I do see him tiring out in this fight. You know, I think Estevan's going to get some grappling going early. And I would not be surprised if Estevan wins round 1 here. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, so that's why as Ethan Ewing is getting bet by the sharps, as Ethan Ewing is moving into a minus 140, if he gets to like minus 160s, minus 170s, minus 180s, I mean, that's when you have to pass because you're expecting him to lose round 1. But if you get him a plus 105 or even minus 130s are out there right now, but I'm just tipping minus 140 for fairness purposes. If you get him a minus 130s, minus 140s, that's where you can accept that he might lose round 1 because he's going to have a massive round 3, maybe even finish, and he likely should be coming on strong towards the middle end of round 2 as well, so he should win that round as well, ideally. Is he going to get a finish? I don't know. We're going to speak about that in a second in my section, Ladder the Hammer, where I'm going to give you some props to add on to this play. But for now, we're just going to go with Ethan Ewing moneyline as our Hammer of the Week. Now, as I said, comment down below your Hammer of the Week, and I'm going to shout you out on next week's show if you cash. So a couple people I want to shout out that cashed last week. First things first, I got to shout out everyone who bet on Joe Pyfer. Congratulations. You got me on that one. The haters said the Hammer of the Week was going to go 0-4 and they was going to bet on Joe Pyfer to cash, and the haters got it right. That was a good call from the haters. Shout out to you guys. These are some other Hammer of the Weeks which cashed. I mean, some absolute bangers in here. So if you see your name on here, shout out to each and every one of you. Well done. Comment down below to see if you can do it this week. If I didn't shout you out on this week's episode, I'm very, very sorry. It's hard to, include everybody, so I can't do that. But hopefully if you win this week, I'll shout you on next week's episode. And outside of that, boys, we will get into the section where I give you extra prop bets to ladder onto our hammer in our section, Ladder the Hammer. So lads, let's take a look at some props that we can use on to ladder the hammer. Now, one thing I need to always, and sometimes I forget, but I need to always make a disclaimer, is that, yes, I'm giving you one bet in this video, but I'm making way more bets. I'm making 10 to 15 bets every single week. So do not rely on one bet to be your savior. Because, for example, last week, Israel Adesanya, that was my Hammer of the Week, right? But I still profited on the weekend, even though we lost on Israel Adesanya. You know, we lost 5 units on the UFC card, 6.5 units. We won 6.5 units on PFL over or more than that. It was like, we won like 8 units on PFL or something. Overall, it was like 2.5 unit profit, even though the Hammer of the Week, Adesanya, lost. So I have seen a few comments before, back in the day, people are like, I put my whole bankroll or I put a lot of money on Adesanya or whatever the Hammer of the Week is because you thought that was the best play or the only play to make. The reason you bet multiple bets is to spread your risk out over multiple bets. So you're not relying on one fighter. So definitely don't put all your bankroll on Ethan Ewing. It's just one bet I make. So if you don't want to rely on Hammer of the Week only and you want all of my plays, you can go to the link in the bio and join my private betting community called the Elite Zone. That's where you get access to every single bet I place. You can just copy and paste the exact bets that I place every single weekend and cash along with me. For transparency purposes, we have not been on a good run in 2026. We have been on the biggest downtrend I've ever had, ever. But sports betting is about uptrends and downtrends. And overall, we are up massively. And the model is the most profitable MMA model on the entire planet. I don't know any other MMA sports bettor that has a better track record than me over the last 6.5 years. It doesn't exist. So we're on a big downtrend now, but we did win 2.5 units last week. So we will go back on a win streak soon. If you want to get all of my bets, the link is in the bio for that. Outside of that, boys, let's get to my favorite section, Ladder the Hammer. So boys, there's multiple angles we can take on this one, right? Our main moneyline play is Ethan Ewing, and we're going to structure it so no matter what happens, if he cashes, then we cash, right? But we want to sprinkle on some prop bets to hopefully boost our bankroll. We're not going to play too much money on these ones, but we're just going to have some sprinkles. So boys, unfortunately, as I record this video, there is no prop odds out. So I don't know what the odds are going to be, but I don't care because I can make a good guess. And I know that Ethan Ewing via decision is going to be the most favored outcome, right? So because it's going to be the most favored outcome, we ain't going to play it. Now, look, decision is definitely possible. I think a round 3 finish is also extremely possible. We're going to play minus 140 on the money line anyway, so we have our main play. So now we need some big juicy stuff. So boys, we'll go Ethan Ewing round 2 and Ethan Ewing round 3 at Hopefully the odds are out by the time my team edit this and then upload it, and we can include the odds. If not, I'm just going to guess the odds. I won't track them as these odds, but I'm just going to guess it like as a fun thing. Lucrative projected odds, which I've done before. I'll say Ethan Ewing round 2 is like plus 750, plus 650, and then round 3 is plus 1200 on Bet Online, right? Which is a terrible book for props. So we can probably get that 1200 into 1800 on another book, and the 650 into like a 900 on another book. But I'm just going on Bet Online odds. That's the book that I usually tip on for this Hammer of the Week video. So yeah, we're going to go with that, boys. Ethan Ewing to win in round 2 and Ethan Ewing to win in round 3. And I mean, the short breakdown on that is because I've already said in the main breakdown that Estevam tires out. And if he tires out against someone like Ethan Ewing, who can extend combos, who goes to the body, who is a veteran with great cardio and great grit, and now he's got the UFC jitters out of the way, even though he had none. But, you know, he's got that first debut out of the way. I think the finish is going to be on the table there for him. So that is it, boys. Remember, those are just fun addition. They're not the hammers themselves. The hammer is Ethan Ewing moneyline. And that's it, boys. If you want to join my free Telegram, where I give out a bunch of free bets for other sports, not just MMA, and a bunch of other giveaways, money, cash giveaways. I've given out so much cash over the years in that Telegram group to the people who follow me in a Telegram for free. You can click the link in the bio for that. Outside of that, not much more to say, boys. Let's cash the hammer of the week. Then let's go on a massive streak. Let's cash on our main bets. Let's cash in the elite zone. Hopefully you cash on your bets, all of you watching this video. And that's it, man. Peace and love. See you in the next one.